Hey, hi, hello, everybody. I don't have to pop a light. Oh, sabotage of a neighbor. Damn hell. That's better. Speaking of sabotage, you know, I had composed much earlier intro as an introduction to this present social media broadcast of video. Then, nevertheless, it would more than seem like, not quite like so, but more than seem like that some are such of a computer hacker, and B one could possibly be, a possible and potential proverbial neighbor from hell of a public nuisance and problem neighbor, moonlighting as some sort or such a type of other character, you know, as that being, or somebody else for that matter, coming off like that of a computer hacker has sabotaged my earlier work or the original intro that I had composed for this present social media broadcast, whereas I had redone it instead of word. We had to and well, not necessarily have to redo it. I don't have to do anything. I don't feel comfortable with, just as long as I'm not violating anybody's civil and human rights. I hope nobody is attempting to violate that of my own. But I had to redo it, so to speak, had to. Yes, as I did before I were to, like say, get things up and running or have the social media broadcast video or whatsoever, whatever anybody wants to call it, to be operable, active, or in session for the airing of it, you know, or for the broadcast at hand as we have it. Broadcast, social media broadcast video for the present given moment time. Then, how are you all doing, my social media family? Of any subscribers as well as any visitors to that being on my own immediate personal social media channel and chat room or comment section. Hopefully, everyone is doing at least okay, if not better yet to be said, to be feeling all right, or if not best of all, to be said, to be feeling blessed, stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, hopefully me and mine likewise as well, all the same. Well, so I say, regardless of whether or not that my person and speaking correct, proper standard English grammar, being of the American dialect or some such quality and quantities, be I speaking the King's English street slang for that matter. But hopefully I'm not butchering the English language of the American dialect so much more, much rather instead of so much less. I mean, I did not ever, I had not ever, did not ever, you know, go about professing myself to have become or be some kind sort of type of an English major or English professor for that matter. You know. Moving right along. And now that I've gotten the basic intro as an introduction or preliminaries out the way, then let me get to speaking upon some such matters or subject matter or topic of discussion to be debated or that being of a given argument with many different views and opinions to be possibly associated with and are representing some of such thereof, or regardless of whether I were to speak upon one or a couple, few or four more for that matter. Then don't kill the messenger. I'm just here to deliver, and if at some given moment in time I could possibly, well, hopefully more unintentionally or by accident rather than upon purpose offend anybody, then please do feel free to bring it to my attentions, but with the exception of, or provided that You employ the usages thereof or use discretion while doing so. Otherwise, from there, I will be saying something like, talk to the hand because I'm not listening. Okay? And because I can get more than enough characters of proverbial neighbors from damn hell attempting to make my life a living damn hell, not to mention strangers elsewhere, and be they related to me or not, be they relatives of my own flesh and blood line from my own ancestral tree with all his descendants, my blood lineage, albeit some are such supposed so-called friends of my own family. You know, yes, I'm not having it to her. Mm-hmm. I'm not having it. This is an urban cowboy. You hear? BPP, Black Panther Party. I'm more of a Christian, if anything or anyone, more than anything or anyone else. Not that a human is a thing or a it. I think that's the general idea of what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Moving right along, as our kissing cousins of the Brits would say. Notice that I have two jackets on it. Take one off. It's not like as if I'm outside at the moment, though my pad at times can or could possibly feel like some kind sort of type of ice box, you know. Be able to have turned my radio, that did I say radio radiator on or not? That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. Prince of Peace continue to regulate my mind compared to the Prince of Darkness. Attempts to confuse my speech. And do disregard or ignore any interruptions in the background for this present social media broadcast or video. I'm not making reference to any electronic devices, be it radio, television, or whatsoever, whatever else for that matter, but rather instead I'm making reference to any of the likes of the proverbial neighbors from damn hell, among the dime a dozen public nuisances of problem neighbors, and where this one in particular has started up again for the umpteenth time for the consecutive day and night in a row, you know, was it's bad enough to have to put up with the nonsense of any likes of characters upon premises and properties for a place of business, be able to be public or private, or for that matter, for premises and properties of a mass transit or public transportation system with all these many different bus and or train routes, then have to come back to the building where you live as a resident or tenant. And I feel sorry for these homeless persons this time of year because it is cold as damn hell out there for this winter season, you know, to be compared on a hot, to be compared onto a hot as damn hell summer season on record breaking weather temps proven to be have become or be quite, you know, abnormal or unnatural, you know, as it is partly man-made weather temps, you know, if push comes to shove. You got to do what you gotta do to stay warm or chilly or cold fall or autumn and winter or winter season, as well as to stay cool during a hot summer season. Yeah, moving right along. As our Christian cousins of the Brits, as in British, would say, or on other things, and being as they are themselves across the waters, the great Atlantic Ocean, you know, for the supposed so-called mother country, being of which had given birth to our own supposed so-called democratic republic or democracy. Whereas, you know, some are such as the dinosaur turd characters of pre-civil rights movement era, Neanderthals or cave persons have somehow not so much as evolved rather than to have thawed out to become a part of our present existence with the global pandemic and still going about attempting to spread the evils of racism, being of which permeates our own society as we have it, especially when you still have racist redneck, dirty cops, be they which some are such that Willie Lynch letter fulfilling non-white flunkies or not, putting their knees upon the brothers' necks on the ground outside their police squad car cruisers. Not that all police officers or cops are dirty, you know. And I myself personally don't believe in defunding the police force. Then because then we would have, or police department anywhere, then because we would have more street animals out here on the prowl, scoping, stalking, and preying upon others to victimize, especially when it comes to the likes of the lowest of scumbags, of their rank and file of the riffraff, the criminal elements being of the closet rapists and closet pedophiles, worse yet. You know. Yeah, but anyway though, so the mother, supposed so-called mother country, being of which is Great Britain, England, had given birth to our own, and for what it's worth, you know. And whereas we have a closet commie president elect in the White House, you know, who is the worst of two evils compared on to his predecessor, being the lesser, you know, being Mr. Twice impeached, but then yet nevertheless twice acquitted old Carrot Top, who was only trying to make America great again. MAGA, Mr. American Patriot Man, or Mr. Captain, fellow Captain America, Mr. Fellow American Patriot, MAGA, compared to this closet commie in the White House now, whose approval rating among the general public has taken a major nosedive. Not that I mean to stray away from the original topic of discussion. Notice the title for this up above for this present social media broadcast and video, in which I will get to shortly. You know, I'll get back to if I have spoken upon some such already. If not, then I will begin to speak upon some such shortly after. Whereas President-elect Sleepy Joe, aka Slow Joe, has fumbled the ball a few times already. Well, that could possibly or probably is an understatement, you know. Especially when it comes to making America become subject to experiencing another failed Vietnam and that third world country or the foreign nation of Afghanistan, pulling our U.S. or American military troops out of there, or that particular one represent a part of the global community prematurely. And that sucks. Yeah. Not that I'm wishing that anybody would do a John Wilkes Booth or D. Harvey Oswald number upon the present president elect, you know. And stupid does, the stupid feels. The same closet commie president that's pushing that poisonous vaccine, you know. And I'm wondering if any doctors or nurses at a local vicinity area neighborhood community hospital, you know, could have given it to me, not only without my permission, without my consent, but likewise as well. All the same, without my knowledge, you know, because I had gotten an injection and a couple, if not more areas of my own physical body. It's a couple few, at least 2 times, and I haven't felt the same ever since. And one was in my arm, and the other for my lower extremities. And whereas now I'm more of an advocate of home remedies, you know, if not so much as likewise an advocate of over-the-counter drugs or prescription medicines. Anytime the higher ups okay medicine that has not gone through the proper policies and procedures or protocol, because it usually takes a number of years for a drug to be approved by any of the bureaucratic agencies or organizations in the world. To take a number of years for it to be tested, then anybody being of whom still possess half their marbles should know not to take it into their system, as in, you know, have themselves be treated with it for their physical body, for their general physical health, as well as for their general mental health. Hold that thought, y'all. I have another one of these internet trolls popping up in here, leaving their letters of acronyms. You can tell when it's an internet troll when they do that, then to convey a line of thought in the form of a sentence. I already explained to them I'm not jam for that. Please go find for yourself another channel and or chat room or comments section in that, because I will silence your chat. And not only that, but nevertheless, I will block once I figure out once I figure out how to perform the features to possibly do either or both once again. In other words, take a hike any of the likes of you internet trolls with your spam, being that because I am not feeling you get a clue. But then thank you yourself otherwise, being another visitor, that being my own personal, being to that being on my own immediate personal channel and or chat room or comment section in this section, or in the username of what's that? Awesome man. Awesome man. 454554. Yes. Anyway, getting back to some of such other, you know, or as I was saying, or as a backtrack here with reason or purpose being, so I could go on to following to continue from where and when that in my personal last self also can finish up as in complete a form of previous or prior line thought in the senses word. And whereas I myself personally, I don't really like how much less. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I still kind of trust doctors and nurses, but how much less now, behind, you know, the symptoms that I had become subjected to experiencing as a present given on time for some time back up until that since that time that I had gotten those injections, whatever it was supposed to have been with a doctor here, a doctor there, a nurse here, nurse there, working in conjunction with a doctor was saying one thing and I'm believing another. I suspect it was the vaccine that they had given me, that poisonous vaccine, and how they claim it was some or such otherwise at two different hospitals at two different times. And so I'm having to go all out my way to make sure that I don't feel even worse, as I have now become that much more of an advocate for that of home remedies, if not so much as equally as well or all the same, or likewise for that over-counter drugs, prescription medicines, or as I was saying much earlier. Yes, so I'm having to do all I have to do for my own personal survival. Cool, make sure blah 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 blah. Again, I'm not trying to become homeless. Get my own repairs. I yet to get maintenance. This will do in the meantime. This had happened as a result of developments. When this one, you know, proverbial neighbor from hell, the same one I had been telling you all about for the longest, not to even dwell on him, right? But then I mentioned him, more than quite a few of my previous social media broadcast videos, was the same nutcase of a psychopath as well as sociopath, a cowardly bully or terrorist wannabe, of a sadist, a sadomasochist, proverbial neighbor from hell among the dime a dozen public problem neighbors. Is still acting like a creep as well as crazy nutcase, going about with his daily and or nightly routine of attempting to make my life a living damn hell as he himself continues to assume that he has a legit personal vendetta or grudge match with that of my person, whereas he continues to go about daily and or nightly making extreme excessive noises of different sorts of types, and then be misbehaving, acting like he wants to attempt to push the envelope by bothering with my apartment door. Yeah, making like from the midnight cowboy to the spook that sits by the door kind of character. And as I suspect him of moonlighting as some such other characters of the criminal element. And so in the midst of him carrying on, I'm like, hey, could you please cut out the noise? Then from there, this is what had happened, as I was saying, or as I showed you all. Yeah. And with he be attempting to make like as if he himself is like say how you say attempting to drive me completely bonkers, not to mention drive me out of house and home, you know and I'm not having it. And I have been homeless before, not no my own what I'm saying. I mean, but being it because of somebody else, not because of something that could have done purposely on purpose. You know, I'm not trying to really become homeless by accident. Yeah, and I feel sorry for these homeless persons out here. I don't care what anybody says. I'm one of the persons that believe compared to how others tend to differ that the majority of most homeless persons, derelict transients, or whatever they are to be called, whoever they are to be called, are homeless being because that's the way they want to become or be. I mean, how do you expect to get a pad or place of residence for yourself, you know, if you're, like drinking up or smoking up your future rent money so you can have a place to call your own. But then I'm in the midst of having a housing inspection for my own pad, a place of residence, where I'm preparing, that I have yet to get the maintenance personnel to work on my stove. Well, I actually called it in, but the person that I talked to, being a representative of the real estate, for these premises property, the building address, location for edifice or structure with all of its apartment complexes for real estate where I'm at now, was like saying, well, this is not an emergency situation. You can wait till some other day, sometime next week, so that one of the maintenance personnel could fix my stove because it was working last night, and all of a sudden when I tried to prepare me something for this afternoon to cook something in my stove, it was not working. Compared to the ice of my stove, still work. I'm like wondering if it's sabotage coming from one of these neighbors from hell, one of these from a neighbor from hell being a likes of the dime a dozen proverbial neighbors from hell. The public problem neighbors could have sabotaged it. I wouldn't doubt it. Like I said, whereas one in particular is attempting to not only drive me completely bonkers, but then nevertheless he himself is attempting to drive me out of house and home. Going about with all this 2 cent power plays, and I suspect himself has, worse yet, has trespassed my premises property. Not only when I step out of my place of residence, but even when I'm back here for my own apartment, trying to get my Z's, calling it a night, you know. And therefore, one had better make sure that you know any person that's renting from a landlord, you know, or a tenant has means by which one can protect oneself, you know, something that one could use on an intruder or home invader. Especially you should, you know, keep a working cell phone in the event of a crisis emergency situation. Although money don't grow on trees, baby. But then it's a fake dollar here. Keep it as a souvenir. Some business. Yeah. See if I can find for you all a real dollar. Just somewhere to make it pass. Yeah. So I'm just doing all I have to do for my own personal survival. Yeah. Are you with me so far? Oh, oh, oh. I got 5 on it. Said I got 5. That's Hamilton. Remember the musical? You know. Then I had yet to start collecting gold and silver. One time when I was trying to, I don't have any gold or silver in the store now. See, you see this a fake bill, fake currency compared onto the real currency. See, the U.S. Treasury is like permit that's printing money it doesn't have. one time or another, it was storing money that much more of other countries and nations, But then back in the day, the Confederate military had stolen a lot of our own monetary finances that was being transported by the Union elsewhere to safety. They ambush, you know, others get a hold of it. They still trying to figure out where all that money went to. Is all the same as there are still certain paintings that are still being searched for that was confiscated by the Third Reich of Nazi Germany back in the day. Yeah, all the different feuding powers that be of man. And here it is, the former Soviet Union, the USSR, the 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 un, the former ex Union of Soviet Socialist Republics wants to attempt to invade that being of the Ukraine, which is was formerly one of its provinces like Poland, but then it has yet to really break away from the USSR, the Soviet Union, though it has since had become something like a democratic republic or democracy like that of our own, you know, but yet it is still considered as the evil empire. And whereas one time or another it had invaded Afghanistan, like I think our own U.S. military had done so, whereas the Red Army had done just that way before then. And something about the what you call as they would put in big business CEO terms, uh, item product commodity that was quite crucial for our own government and our own or for our own bureaucrats and capitalists to get a hold of that can compare on to the natural resource of oil. And there's a lot of poppy seeds there that can be processed into illegal street drugs, Again, so much for that conversation. You know, Other than that, we know that they caught El Chapo Guzman. They're yet to get his sons, especially that one in particular, is making like Mr. Flashy, flashing his cash every time you look. Oh, look at me. Look at me. Uh, I don't get a crazy check. I don't get a Kool-Aid check. And if you want to be like me, let me hook you up. You know, you find out if you don't know already. If you ask a question, what it's like to be a part of a Sicario. I ain't trying to go out like that, regardless of whether or not I've known some head honchos like that in the past. Man, let me tell you something. Being in jail or the crazy house with the way things are situated nowadays worldwide, it's not a walk in the park, or literally it isn't. Especially the Mexican jails and those Russian jails and North Korean jails, civil and human rights violation offenses, where the weather temps is enough to have to deal with. Where my place is feeling like an icebox at times. Even at times, I turn on my radiator, getting back to some of such other, like I meant straight from the original topic of discussion. Yeah. Whereas at times I feel like I want to Go heads up. World War III, complaining to the management of the building about the neighbor from hell, cocksucker, as well as interruptions of services. I'm trying to hold down the fort because I ain't trying to go out like that, like a homeless person. Daily transit. I was at this one soup kitchen most recently that be moonlighting as a food pantry. And man, you got some daily transits or homeless person in there. You know, they was like, stinking like stinking to stink like pure D shucks, man. Woof woof whiff whiff. Uh, or stinking like pure damn ass. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Yeah, yeah man. I'm like, take them stinking clothes to a laundromat. Borrow you some money from somebody. Give it to the staff persons. You know, at this one particular soup kitchen, you can stay there for something like practically half a day. You know, compared to other ones, well, being one of the few soup kitchens that be moonlighting as a food pantry I know about that serve during the daylight hours, compared to how many fewer do I know about that serve, during the nighttime or evening hours. Like this one I went to most recently, and it's this African in there, African male. He act like he get an attitude with me at times. When I get there late, and I start to grab whatever I can. Man, be respectful. There's other. I'm like, man, nobody else is coming now, man. How you sound? You ain't running this here anyway. It's the preacher, preacher man. It's this preacher man, a preacher man or whatever. And this ain't your thing. This is his, man. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. Hope you ain't trying to disrespect me. I'm just trying, man. You gotta feel where I'm coming from, man. You ain't out here like us, man. What you talking about, man? At the same time, I gotta be like hold my tongue at times, because you got a lot more of other persons going off at the drop of a hat, like road rage and everything. And I just lost a mom, as well as lost my grandma, two brothers way before the years before them. You My mom, most recently, a couple few years after my grandma had passed, and two brothers of mine had passed. The better you go by means of some such other way than be taken out the box. You know how that is. Yeah. Anyway, though, I'm about to close shop shortly after. But whereas the weather's temps is enough to deal with. I'm about to close shop at the end this social media broadcast video is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, the weather's temps is enough to deal with in these foods, summer anywhere and everywhere, especially in a in some atmosphere that's supposed to be where you pay monthly rent, utilities, etc. for home phone included, then be going out there in the streets and getting into some some stuff, And these weather temps ain't nothing nice. And I believe that some mad scientists are literally actually throwing a monkey wrench in Mother Nature's program again, as well as big business CEOs are continuing to deplete, the planet Earth of its natural resources. Profits over preservation for this big blue marble in space, regardless of whether or not any aliens from outer space that come visit us, or if or regardless of whether or not there are any in human form. Only aliens from outer space I know of, I believe to be, unless it can be proved otherwise, are angels and demons. You know what I'm saying? Can you feel me? Yeah. But then Greta Thunberg is doing a pretty good job as an environmentalist, and regardless of whether or not she has to step up her game, but she's doing a pretty fair job of it. I like to, protest with some of those environmentalists as well as, um, anti-abortionists, because Earth's most precious resource is children, okay? Yeah, the devil is extremely busy in this day and age. Left and right, people dropping like flies, and they want to pump this here poisonous vaccine in the people's system, talking all that yin yang, and you got a lot of blacks, I'm sure Hispanics, Asians as well, or whites for that matter, etc. Especially when it comes to blacks, and they get to thinking about reflecting upon the case of situation that Tuskegee incident when the medical community had, you know, gone about with some foul play on their part, was it injected black males down south, mainly mostly poor black males, with an STD and didn't treat them for years, for a number of decades, you know, and that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Just just as just as devastating as when black males down south were falsely charged with sexually assault or raping you know white girls or Caucasian woman, you know, like the Scottsboro boys, and then some. Then there was this one white girl, the one that was she the one that had produced those Harry Potter novels? No, it was another white girl. That's right. She's the one that had authored that novel that was made into a movie. Though the Harry Potter novels, some of them were made into movies. She made the that movie flick or Hollywood California motion picture production called by its name title of The Lovely Bones, about a creepy neighbor that's supposed to kidnap a young girl of a family household, did freaky things with her, and buried her body somewhere, and whereas the father of the deceased teen or preteen has his suspicion that it was this one neighbor that had something to do with his daughter come up missing, and was trying to find her. Mark Wahlberg had played the part. The white boy called Mark Wahlberg had played the part of the father, this that is the deceased or kidnapped deceased girl. Same white boy back in the day that was accused of violent or racial hate crime, whereas he had beaten an Indian man within an inch of his life as he was hooked up with some kind of racist redneck organization similar to the Proud Boys, and hopefully our former ex twice impeached, but then yet twice acquitted president of the USA, former ex-president of the USA, the four for all races. The word four only means leader in German. The four for all races, old carrot top is not hooked up with one of them racist redneck white boy organizations. Though he had his chance to discredit one in particular, I think it wasn't the neo Nazis, Ku Klux Klan, but he refused to do so. Not only on national television, but on international television. That's probably why he lost the the most recent political election to his rival, who I suspect to be a closet commie in his own right, closet commie, closet Nazi, whatever, you know. But anyway, I'm about to wrap this up, y'all. Yeah. Other than that, I hope what's his name. I do kind of like hope Trump get back in the White House in 24 2024. Then because the president that we have in there now, man, I wish he would hurry up and get out of the White House, that closet commie. And likewise, closet Catholic priest wannabe, always grabbing on boys. But one thing I do know. He better not buy with Jojo Rabbit, because Jojo Rabbit is mine. I meant that in a joke way. I don't mean in a gay pedophile Catholic priest wannabe kind of way. www.godhatesfags.com. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve or Adeline and Stephanie to get together for some fun in the sun and the frolic in the hay or the skinny dip in the pool or in the pond, whatever. So much for that concept. And God don't like it when mankind destroy the planet. The next destruction of it, though, will not be by water as it was in ancient times, whereas Noah had to build the ark, but it would be by fire. That's the last book of the good book, God's word, the Bible, the basic instruction before leaving earth from God to make reference to salvation and deliverance in Christ our Lord and Savior, says so far as atomic or nuclear war, where one-third of the planet is supposed to be destroyed, according to the book of Revelation. Then anyway, though, as you all know, I would give the intro to that of social media broadcast like in time past, or hopefully I have done so more than quite a few as well as, if not all, you get an intro. Then I speak upon a subject matter, cover few or four more for that matter, of topics of discussions or given arguments with many different views and opinions to be associated with some. So then I will get a closing. You know, I say, if you haven't got Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I hope that you think to do so now while blessed to run warm and vain, but recognize and realize what he himself had done upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of glory, suffering at the hands of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, being religious Pharisees and Sadducees, and then some. But then nevertheless, he gave his life upon the cross of Calvary, so that you don't have to end up in the lake of fire down hell with the rest of the unsaved, damn lost souls and unbelievers, but so that you could go to heaven as one of the believers in God. You all take care. Peace.